Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome back to the Majid Kanka channel. Today the weather is just absolutely splendid. It is around like 14 or 15 degrees Celsius over here in Istanbul and I am loving it. And inshallah in today's video I'm going to be talking about the subtle or not so subtle ways in which I've changed my view on this world, my view on people, my opinions about countries and different populations since I've come to Turkey. So it is without a doubt that when you leave a specific place that you live in for another place, you are bound to become more open-minded. You are bound to change in the way you perceive different things that happen around you. So inshallah I'll be talking about those ways in which I've changed since I left Malaysia. So for some background information, I was born and raised in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, and in 2018 I came to Istanbul, Turkey. Now one of the biggest ways in which I've changed since I've come to Turkey is the fact that I am more grateful of the way people were back there in Malaysia. I mean, usually when someone has lived in a single country his entire life, and this is also something that I've noticed about people, when you've lived in one specific country your entire life, you tend not to do justice to its population, because if you're a negative person you will solely focus on all the bad things that culture has, or the bad thing that environment has. Like for instance, when I was in Malaysia I was like, the Malaysian people are like this, Malaysia's like this, it's too hot, this food is not nice, that food is not nice. I used to complain a lot, and I used to not really be grateful for what I had. And I think the same thing would have been, it would have been the same case if I was born and raised in Turkey or born and raised in Uganda. But then once I left Malaysia, I came to the stark realization that places have their good sides and they have their bad sides. And wherever you live, there will always be a compromise. There is no one nation, be it Malays or be it Turks or be it Americans. There is no one nation that has it all. There are no one people who are absolutely perfect and they have no faults whatsoever. You get some, you lose some wherever you go. So I came to Turkey and I realized that so many things that the Turkish people have and are getting right, the Malaysian people haven't done it and they're not getting it right, and so many things, and vice versa. So this has definitely, alhamdulillah, I could say changed me for the better, to realize that wherever you go you will never be 100% happy or 100% sad, because there's always a compromise to be made. And you just have to keep positive and you have to be grateful for what you have. That is an attitude. You cannot blame your circumstance and be like, oh, because Turkey is not such a nice place, therefore I'm not living in it happy. Because I kid you not, I guarantee you, even if you went back to your home country, even if you went back to Malaysia, the US, Nigeria, China, wherever you're from, if you go back there with that attitude, expecting the circumstance to always make you happy, then you will not find what you're looking for, because everywhere in this world there's a compromise. The second thing which has changed about my worldview or about my perspective since I came to Turkey from Malaysia is I've just earned a much bigger appreciation and respect from my parents for what they had to go through. So when I came to Turkey, I was 14 years old, and God, the move was hard. Moving from a certain place, uprooting your entire life and to start it afresh in a place like Turkey, of all locations back in the day, like 4 years ago, not many people were coming to Turkey back then, and it was just so shocking. It was so difficult for me. I didn't know anything about the Turkish language, anything about the Turkish culture. Maybe for instance, if you migrated from Malaysia to the US, if I had done that, it would have been easier for me to settle in, because we in the so-called third world countries are just drowned in American and Western pop culture. But not much of that was available at the time. Not much Turkish pop culture was around. There was not much of Ertuğrul, Sultan Abdul Hamid and all these other series to really export the Turkish culture. Now imagine my parents, all right? My father, he was born in Uganda, he moved to Zaire, from Zaire he went to Sudan, and then eventually he went to Malaysia. And same like my mom, she was born in Saudi Arabia, she lived after that in Egypt. From Egypt she went to Pakistan, and from Pakistan she came to Malaysia. So you can imagine my parents have been uprooted 4 times in their lives, or 3 times, at 3 separate intervals and life stages. And the older you grow, the more difficult it becomes to completely settle down in a new place, in a new location. And it just has brought about in me this deep found gratitude and appreciation and awe and wonder at how they had to go through that entire move, through that entire uprooting of their livelihoods and of their lives at a later stage in their life. Like, if it was so hard for me at 14 years old, I can't imagine how much harder it must be for them at like 40, 50, 20, you know, at whatever stage of their lives that they had to move to another country. So yeah, definitely you could say that I appreciate my parents much more and what they've done for me, alhamdulillah. The third and final point, because I don't want to make this video too long, can only be explained if I elaborate on the following. You know, recently in Turkey, I've seen a huge amount of many Muslims who are leaving the West, and you know, they're migrating over here to Turkey because it's just much easier to practice your Islam. You know, over there in the West, you know, in schools they impose on kids not to fast, they impose on little girls not to wear hijab, even if that is quote unquote their choice, because it's a liberal society, apparently a pseudo-liberal society. So you know, I've just had so many friends, and you know, I have a Quran class, and every day or like every week there are people coming in and going out, and they all have the same complaint and the same stories about how, you know, living life as a Muslim in the West was just extremely challenging and extremely difficult. Now, you know, you can only appreciate how difficult it must have been for them to do hijrah from that location until you yourself have done hijrah. Now from Malaysia to Turkey, I wouldn't really consider it hijrah, because we didn't move for the sake of Allah per se. Yani we didn't move to practice our deen, we moved looking for His rizq and looking for His opportunities that He provided us. But then it is still very difficult to move from one place to another. And for all those people living in the West, in the US, living in the UK, Ireland, wherever it may be that's difficult for you to practice your Islam, you know, if you are doing hijrah to Turkey for the sake of Allah, I just want to say that you know, I ask Allah and I sincerely make dua that He blesses you with you know, mountains of Uhud in reward and thawab and ajr, because by Allah it's not an easy thing. Wallah, it's not an easy thing. You know, moving and traveling from one place to another into like no man's land, you know, like to be a nomad basically, it's not an easy thing. And to do that all for the sake of Allah, you know, big up to whoever has done that. And you know, I just pray that inshallah they will find happiness and ease in this dunya and inshallah in the akhirah. And with that, thank you very much for watching this video. I know it's kind of a solemn vibe, you know, not the very excitable person that I usually am, but this is a serious topic, and I hope you've benefited and enjoyed this content, inshallah. And if you like more content like this, I'm reminding you, don't forget to like, share and subscribe and share with your friends more content on life in Turkey and whatnot. And bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, I'll see you in the next video very soon. Assalamu alaikum.